In the year 1621, in the newly established Plymouth colony, a group of Pilgrims and Native Americans gathered to celebrate a bountiful harvest. This event, which would come to be known as the First Thanksgiving, was a moment of unity, gratitude, and hope. The story begins several months earlier, when a ship called the Mayflower made its way across the treacherous Atlantic Ocean. Aboard were the Pilgrims, a group of English settlers seeking a new home where they could practice their religion freely. After a long and perilous journey, they arrived in the New World, but their trials were far from over. The first winter in Plymouth was harsh and unforgiving. The settlers, unaccustomed to the rugged terrain and cold climate of New England, struggled to survive. Food was scarce, and the cold was relentless. Many fell ill, and by the time spring arrived, nearly half of the Pilgrims had perished. As the surviving settlers began to plant their first crops, they encountered a Native American from the Wampanoag tribe named Squanto. Squanto was a unique individual, as he had previously encountered English settlers and knew their language. He approached the Pilgrims, offering his knowledge and assistance. With Squanto's guidance, the Pilgrims learned to cultivate corn, extract sap from maple trees, catch fish from the rivers, and identify which plants were safe to eat. This newfound knowledge was a turning point for the struggling colony. As the summer progressed, the crops planted by the Pilgrims flourished. By autumn, they had a successful harvest, enough to sustain them through the coming winter. In celebration of this bounty, the Pilgrims decided to hold a feast. They invited Squanto and the leader of the Wampanoag tribe, Chief Massasoit, to join them in gratitude for their help. Chief Massasoit accepted the invitation and arrived with 90 of his men. To the surprise and delight of the Pilgrims, the Wampanoag guests brought with them deer, turkey, fish, and a rich variety of fruits and vegetables. The feast, which lasted for 3 days, was a time of joy and fellowship. The Pilgrims and the Native Americans shared their food, stories, and traditions. They engaged in games and demonstrations of skill, forging a bond of mutual respect and understanding. The menu was a reflection of both cultures, featuring venison, roast turkey, cornbread, cranberries, and pumpkins. There was laughter and music, and a sense of hope filled the air. For a brief moment, differences were set aside, and a spirit of unity prevailed. This first Thanksgiving was more than just a feast. It was a symbol of cooperation and coexistence between two very different cultures. It was a celebration of survival against great odds and the birth of a new tradition that would endure for centuries. As the years passed, the story of the first Thanksgiving became a key chapter in the history of the United States. It came to represent the ideals of gratitude, community, and the blending of diverse cultures. Yet it's also important to remember that the relationship between the settlers and Native Americans was complex and often fraught with conflict. The harmony of that first Thanksgiving was a fleeting moment in a history that would see its share of struggles and strife. Nonetheless, the first Thanksgiving remains an enduring symbol of hope and a reminder of the power of gratitude and understanding.